Welcome back, sports fans, and we're still talking the Arkansas Tornado. This is a postseason special edition of Sports Talk is McHemme, where we're just talking Tornado football. And this Saturday night, we got a playoff game coming between the Arkansas Tornadoes and the Arkansas Steelers. And it's a rematch of a game that we just broadcast 2 weeks ago when the Arkansas Steelers came to Bomber Stadium and left a loser 20-8, where the Arkansas Tornadoes pulled it out. Mike,
if I remember this correctly, I believe they came to town, and we totally dominated that game. The score was not indicative of the score was not indicative of the play. I didn't think there was that one fluke touchdown at the end, but when we look towards this game, there's one thing that stands out to me is that, it's tough to beat a team twice in the same season. Raptors pulled it off against the Tornadoes, but, that's what the first game was, that was just a pregame. But now the Tornadoes have to beat the Steelers twice in 3 weeks. Not an easy thing, especially when we look at the Steelers and all those speed threats that they have. I think that's something, obviously, that Eddie and company are going to have to, and I'm sure are looking at. We've got to make sure that these guys don't get to the edge. And if they don't, I think the Tornadoes walk in this one.
Well, the Tornadoes, their scheme on defense really shut down the Arkansas Steelers on offense. Now, the Steelers had some great pure athletes, and we talked about this during the broadcast. Their inability to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers, because for one, just from me watching it, they had a different quarterback down there every possession, so there was no continuity on offense. I think one of the Steeler fans, we had someone give us a thumbs down on our broadcast. I think one of the Steeler fans didn't agree with our analogy, but they were having issues between the snap between the center and the quarterback, because they had a different quarterback in almost every possession. It seemed like there was no continuity. They showed up late to the game. They got there just in time for the game, didn't get a chance to warm up, and it seemed the schemes that they were running on defense was hard for the Arkansas Steelers. They didn't know how to handle some of our defensive schemes and protecting the football and playing conservative, and then the offensive line just dominated the Steelers when we played them 2 weeks ago. But I know, Joey, you were down on the sidelines. You got a chance to visit with both teams. Joey Football, the sideline reporter for our broadcast. Yeah, he was all over the field that day, but you got to see a lot on down being close to the field. What do you think of that game between the Steelers and the Tornadoes?
Well, what I think on that, and what I know was, and what I witnessed, was the energy of the Arkansas Tornadoes in that game, and also the fans. I think in a game like that, when the fans are pumped, I think it really does help motivate the players. I witnessed it. I've seen it all season long. I've got to say, from the beginning of the season to the last game we played against the Arkansas Steelers the game before, was the excitement and energy on the field. And I believe if the Arkansas Tornadoes come into this next game at Bomber Stadium with the fans behind them, with the energy that they had last time, it builds up those players. And I believe if that happens, we could see another Arkansas Tornado win. Now, when I was on the field, I did get to go over to the other side in that game, and because it was an injury, and I wanted to check on that. And it kind of reminded me of early Tornadoes. The energy over on the other side just wasn't there. There wasn't a lot of energy. I come back to the Arkansas Tornado side, man, they were pumped, and they stayed pumped the entire game. I think, as you get tired, having those fans, having the coaches, having the other players boost each other, get behind one another, lift each other's spirits, and keep them going, I think helps win games. If you get down, I think it can cost you, and it may even cost you a win.
And I think that one of the, of course, obvious major advantages that the Tornadoes have this weekend is the game is being played in Mountain Home. And it's like you said, that game the Steelers arrived late, or at least seemed to have. It might be their, just the way they do things. But, it's a lot easier to play on the field that you're used to playing on, be there early, be ready, drive 5-10 minutes there, as opposed to, driving hours to get to a game, playing, and then driving back home. So they had that advantage once again.
Well, I think, that was something we noticed at the beginning. They didn't really get an opportunity to warm up in the game, but the thing that I thought of when they played, just last week or 2 weeks ago when they played the Steelers was I thought about what they've talked about all year long when it came to the Tornadoes was being a family. Because at the beginning of that game, we had you, Joey, that entire first quarter, you were interviewing all the injured Tornado players, but yet everyone stepped up. There's so many guys that have played out of position and are stepping up and filling in the spot. And not only just filling in the spot, but they're also doing it where we're still staying competitive, and the ability for them to come together as a team and support each other. And then now the fans of the Tornadoes, we need them to come out Saturday night. If we get a turnout Saturday night like we did that first game, I think that will make a big difference. So, we need the people of Mountain Home to come out and support this team that has laid it all out on the line. I mean, these are a bunch of average Joes who are just, they work all during the week. If one of those guys gets hurt, they might not be able to work. If they break a hand and their job is nailing, hammering nails, they might not even get a chance to do their job. They've laid it all out on the line. And I'm really hoping Saturday night that we get the city of Mountain Home to come out, because this team has just played they played like a family, guys.
And one thing that I pointed out watching the game afterwards to my wife, I looked, and Joey, I know you checked on the Steelers player when he was hurt, but when he went down, every player knelt right where he was. And I turned to my wife and I was like, that's pretty cool, that they all do that on both sides. And we've seen it all season long. It's not just the Tornadoes, coming together. It seems like it's an entire family of teams. There's the Tornado family, and then there seems to be the DCFL family and the CFL family, and that's pretty cool. That's one of the things that I'll take away from this season.
And what you guys, David, I think it was the last segment, you'd asked about one word to sum up this year, and I could think of many. A couple other ones were just what you mentioned, family, and another one is unity. Are two of the ones I could think of right off head right now, but family and unity, and I believe that is what has helped this team. As you said, some of the players have had to play out of position and into new positions that they haven't maybe done before. And I think because they are family and they are united, they're able to develop into other areas, and they're successful doing it. And we've seen it from the offense, and we've seen it through the defense this year. And hopefully we're going to see it again coming up this next game when the Tornadoes take on the Steelers.
And I think that, and I mentioned this in the last segment, as long as the Tornadoes can swarm to the football like they did last game, get to the outside, plug some of these holes for these speedsters that the Steelers have, then I think they got a really good shot.
Well, make no mistake, the Steelers are a very dangerous team. And, of course, our producer's telling us we got to go to break, and we're going to come back with another segment. But before we go to our next segment, let's go ahead and do a prediction of the score for this weekend, and then we'll come back and wrap it up with our final Tornado segment. But I'm going to steal off of Eddie Elliott from the first game. Eddie made a prediction of 21-6. It ended up being 20-8. I think the Tornado offense is going to score about 20 points. So I'm going to steal that from Eddie. I'm going to say it's going to be 20 again, but I'm going to actually go with 20-14 this time. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think Jason Rice's defense shuts down the Steelers again, and I think Dakota Sutterfield and that offensive line will own it. I'm going with that score, Mike, 20-14.
Right, I think it's going to be closer this time as well. And I can't see an offensive battle at this point. With two teams who know each other as well as these two teams do, two teams that played 2 weeks ago. I'm going to look at the difference being maybe 1 or 2 extra points. I'm going to go 14-12 Tornadoes.
All right. And Joey, final, what's your prediction for this weekend?
I'm going to predict, just like I have in most every game that we've played at home, I always come out and say, Tornadoes, we're going to win. I think it's going to be a tornado win. Don't know what the score is going to be. Going to be a tough one there, but I'm going to say it's going to be a tornado victory.
I think we're all three for the Tornadoes, and we're going to blow into our next segment, so we'll be right back here on this special postseason edition of Sports Talk is McHemme, talking about the Arkansas Tornadoes.